is like there's a.
Okay, we're live on YouTube. And we're going live on TikTok. All right, hi everybody.
Good morning.
So you'll be able to see the YouTube comments over here, but they may be blocked for you.
I can see them okay.
And then YouTube's over here, Paul and Ashley.
We have so many devices in our home office, like it's crazy. So you can kind of see on the YouTube shot, we have this random lighting structure over here. We have this bizarre microphone in front of us.
Bizarre? Why do you say
it's
bizarre?
Like, it's just a lot of equipment, let's just say.
Okay, here we are. So YouTube is that camera right there, TikTok here. Trying to get them as close together, so we're kind of looking at both at the same time.
We're okay. I got to get closer to you now.
You do? Okay. All right.
We are not all that coordinated, although Paul's kind of a professional at this stuff. So
yeah,
I wonder,
play one on TV.
I wonder if the TikTok world knows that Paul Swearengin used to be a sportscaster, a TV journalist, a photog, they used to call it. So a photographer, an editor, and an on-air anchor and sports reporter. So I'm not kidding. He's kind of a professional at this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's been really fun to watch you do TikToks because the 60-second thing, like you just nail it. Like you can deliver an entire modern day parable or little sermonette in 60 seconds. And it's like, well, that's what you used to have to do in the sports world, although that was more like a 2.5 minute sports package. But I see the common thread.
We had to fit it in the time. And right off camera is our dog right here.
Yeah.
And he's kind of demanding attention right now.
Well, I pulled this little footstool over thinking I would need something to set my coffee on. And my dog decided
that was his chair.
He would actually jump up and he's very, he is just in our business all the time. Like COVID-19 being
now that we're
all the time.
At home all the time. Oh my goodness, dog.
This thing is like in our face and in our space 24/7.
So welcome. I'm Old Pastor Paul on TikTok. And this is my wife, Ashley. And we talk religion and politics because Ashley was the 2-term mayor of Fresno, still involved in economic and reconciliation circles, doing some cool stuff with the local community foundation. We started a church in 2008. I was the senior leader of that church for 10 years and now do a podcast called The Nonpartisan Evangelical. And now apparently I do TikTok videos. So that's what I do.
Yes.
So we're live on YouTube and TikTok right now. And so if you're on either of those platforms, what we love is for you to tell us where you are. State, country, city or state, wherever, particularly if you're Californians, as we are. We love to know what city you're in California.
Even if you're not in California, we like to know where you're at.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, I was just saying maybe you don't have to do the city.
Oh, yeah, true.
So sorry, text coming in.
Yeah, it was our son who is making his plans to go hit the baseball.
What was he saying RIP for?
I don't know.
Hi, Richmond, Virginia. Sarah is a regular with me on some of these lives. So yeah, we'd love to see you guys on YouTube. You can comment there.
I can never say
Schenectady,
New York. I used to know the mayor of that city, and I was always practicing trying to say the name of the town. So my apologies, but
it's cold,
I'll bet
she
it's
says.
Cold. Holy moly, I'll bet it is.
Teresa is with us on YouTube. She said she just came over from TikTok. Is YouTube better, Teresa, or is TikTok better? Which do you prefer to watch from? So yeah, my YouTube channel is The Nonpartisan Evangelical. So I just did a Bible study at 9:00 Pacific, and that's going to become kind of a regular thing on Saturday mornings. May do them occasionally on Tuesday night because some of you said Saturday morning didn't work out. And so just subscribe to my newsletter.
Oh, Canada.
Hi,
Hello,
Alberta.
Mark. Hello, Mark from Oh, Canada. Awesome.
Teresa's
awesome
from Baldwin, New York, over on YouTube,
Very
Phoenix,
cool.
Arizona.
Very cool. I have to say, I won't go on about this, but the last two lives, we've had people from Canada, and there is a lot of faith that wells up in me when I see people from Canada, because I know there's just amazing spiritual reservoirs in Canada that like have poured into the U.S. So God bless you guys.
So what we do, and Teresa's from Baldwin, New York. I wonder where Baldwin is. Can you tell us where Baldwin is?
I'll have to get the map out.
She said, both are great. I figured I'd fill a seat here on YouTube. Yeah, thanks. We're trying to grow that YouTube channel. So all of you who are on TikTok, just know when I do a 60-second video on TikTok, or I'll do like a series of maybe 4 or 5. I did a 5-part series about abortion. I'll do something longer on YouTube. That does a little more explanation. So if you ever see me do 60 seconds on TikTok, and you're like, boy, I'd like to know more, you can always ask, send me a direct message, but go over to YouTube and see if I don't have something over there.
Chicago.
Carlos from Chicago.
Hey, Chicago. My great-great-grandfather started the Chicago Industrial Christian League in Chicago. So family roots there. Love that. Love
Speaking
that
of
city.
family,
Beautiful
our
city.
friend Rosie is here with us from our prayer team.
Yay.
Baldwin is not far from Long Beach, New York, which I also don't know where Long Beach
that's
is.
gonna have to improve on our geography. If we start asking people to tell us where they're from, we'll have to become more knowledgeable.
So what we do is talk religion and politics, and our son's going off to hit for
Bye,
baseball.
buddy.
So see ya. Are you going to Reedley, Ben?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. You already knew that.
Reedley, California is a smaller town in Central California in Fresno County, and major agricultural heartland.
Road might be wet, brother.
Drive carefully, son. Sorry.
We talk religion and politics because we've become convinced that this partisanship of the white evangelical church that has partnered itself with conservative, extreme right-wing politics. I would still say we're fairly conservative, although maybe less than we used to be, but this extreme right-wing partisanship of the Republican Party, and the fact that it's married itself to religion. And now we have people saying, if you're not voting for a Republican, you're going to hell. We just think that is an abomination in the sight of God. And so we like to come on and just talk about seeing things from a different perspective, challenging that mindset, and asking people to think differently. So Teresa says Long Island is 45 minutes from New York City.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Wow.
So if you have questions about the Bible or politics, pop them up. We just kind of come on here and have a chat. This is our Saturday morning coffee together and hanging out.
Yeah. I think maybe just to say a little bit more about like this morning you did. So, well, let me back up. So last week, I know we saw a couple comments in the chat about, Paul, do you ever do like more Bible teaching, so you've been doing the 60-second TikTok videos. You have been doing longer, podcasts and other things on YouTube. But it occurred to me last week that you should dedicate like a dedicated time on the calendar every week where folks who actually want a little more of just like, 20, 30 minutes of like your perspective on Bible teaching or whatever, like that we ought to just make sure that happens. And so you did that for the first time this morning. And you want to recap a little bit about what you talked about and maybe what folks' comments and kind of what the reaction seemed to be.
Yeah. And once again, reminder, those just joining us on TikTok or on YouTube, tell us where you're from. We just like to see where you're joining us from. So I talked about Romans 1 today. And I kind of did a quiz. I'm like, does anybody know why Romans 1 is a significant chapter? And I didn't really get an answer, but Romans 1 is significant because it is pretty much the chapter that's used by evangelicals and other Christians to justify what I would call sort of the ostracizing gay people and standing against gay marriage and believing that gay homosexual acts are sin and send you to hell. And so I was just teaching how Romans 1 is actually Romans 1, 2, and 3 are really Paul setting up the premise of temple worship and sort of the aberrant worship of Rome, which the book is written to Romans, thus the name Hi Ohio. Mm-hmm. And he wasn't saying, here's a theological premise, these things are sin. What he was saying is, first, the sin of Romans 1 is they worship the creator rather than the created. So homosexuality is not even the sin that Romans 1 is talking about. It's talking about worship of idols and of things other than worshiping the creator of the universe. And that when you do these things, it leads when you do that kind of worship, it leads to these other things. And and I think it's talking about prostitution in the temple. And the audience that was listening to Paul's letter would have said, oh yeah, that's what he's talking about. And then just to tell Christians, like, by the way, homosexuality and that homosexual prostitution in the temple is not the only thing that Romans 1 talks about. It also talks about being boastful. It talks about disobeying your parents. It talks about gossiping, other things that we don't even come close to treating the same way we treat homosexuality. So I was just trying to tell people, did you ever stop and think what is really being said in Romans 1? And did the writer mean for verses 26 and 27 to make us go, oh yeah, there you go. That's definitive. It's clear. God hates homosexuals. Or did the writer mean something else and the audience would have clearly not heard what the evangelical church is hearing today? But we've been told this for so long that we're sure. Oh, by the way, Teresa says she was at the Bible study and it was wonderful.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
Good,
so cool.
Good to hear that feedback.
So if you tell us where you're from, if you're just joining, give us whatever question.
Raleigh, North Carolina.
All right.
Never been, but have heard such incredible things about that part of the country. Have a lot of friends from that area. Beautiful.
So what I'm also ultimately trying to tell people is, like, even if you're not going to change your specific theological beliefs, could you be willing to hear there are other people that love Jesus who believe differently, and let that be on your grid so that you're not so staunch and mean and hateful as some do that then come on my page and feel like they have to try to correct everything.
Yeah, I'm just seeing Chuck's comment about last night his blood brother told him that he was going to hell for voting for a Democrat. I mean, that's probably in a nutshell that really depicts what we're trying to call out and just lift up and, like, hey, let's let the light of God shine on this. Is this in fact what we're supposed to model and represent as people of faith?
Yeah.
Washington State, but visiting Fresno today.
Yeah.
Okay, well, welcome.
That's where we are,
Welcome.
Fresno, California.
Yeah, that's fantastic. We're probably in the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
But anyway,
what's bringing you to Fresno, Chuck?
Chuck
Chuck.
was
Washington State, but visiting Fresno.
And is Chuck also the person who said his blood brother?
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
If so, then I'm wondering if maybe his blood brother is a Fresnan.
Oh, no. Well, it wouldn't be unusual for a Fresnan to tell you you're going to hell for voting for a Democrat.
Is right in the middle of the state. For those of you who may not know, I'm wearing California is right here, so Fresno is like right there.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the Bible Belt, or at least it has been historically. That's certainly changing, but it's been a little bit of the Bible Belt of California, and so there's still a really intense focus. Like the Christian community, the white evangelical Christian community, is still very much like far right. And
Central California, very, very conservative, very, very red state in the middle of a very blue state.
Yeah.
And if you know who Devin Nunes is, he happens to be our congressman.
Yep, we're in this congressional district.
But Fresno itself, Fresno County, did go for Hillary in 2016.
Well, Obama in 8.
Oh, did it go for Obama in 8?
12, Clinton in 16, and
then Biden.
In 20.
So Fresno County itself is the much more large urban area, and then the ag areas are very conservative around us. So yeah. Miami's with us, Chicago.
Awesome.
Long Island or Lake Erie Islands, Ohio.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful region.
Oh yeah, Cape Coral, Florida, which is also beautiful. Humid like crazy though. I watch you all the time. Praise God for your comments and your teaching. Thank you, user 4125, a lot of other numbers.
That's great.
We're on YouTube Live and we're on TikTok Live right now.
And from Salt Lake City. Fantastic. Okay, we get so distracted by the comments because honestly, like, as a person who, having been a mayor and having been involved in community and economic development for the last, over 20 years, I love cities. I love community. I love the places where there's a group of people who, find themselves living in the same space, and they're trying to figure out how to work with one another, how to dream together, how to reconcile differences. And of course, that is extremely difficult in this day and age. But I just feel like that is so close to God's heart, Fresno, for example, I tell the story. Fresno was founded because a whole bunch of farmers who were living independently in just like kind of this rural part of California started having fires, and they would rush to help one another put out fires. And they finally realized, we should form like a city of some sort so we could help take care of each other's property better. And so the very heart of cities And if you go back and look at the history of the city you're in, there's some story of there was a moment when people realized we're better together, we're better help where there's a common interest here than if we were to just remain independent. And so to me, the seed of cities is this commitment to community and to helping to take care of people. And so anyway, that's just heaven on earth from my view.
You need to explain why Salt Lake City is really important to you right now.
Okay, I will, but it's also going to reveal my trash TV. You know, Salt Lake knows what I'm talking about. So it's COVID, and Bravo has limited filming options for the Housewives series. And so I have a feeling that they filmed Real Housewives of Salt Lake City like in 2019, because there's no reference to COVID whatsoever. And they're like, should we release this or not? And then COVID hit and they're like, yeah, we got to have content. So they are pumping out Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. So yes, thanks for blowing my cover. I'm not as terribly sophisticated as I would have you all to believe, because I'm watching Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
No, I think it's important to know that God is okay with us having fun. He's okay with us just living life as best we can. I like to watch the shows where they like marry people they've never seen before.
Yeah, he does. He's
like
a hopeless
Love
romantic.
Is Blind. Is that the one it was?
No, that was the Netflix thing we watched when COVID first hit and we were sheltering in place. That was our first Netflix binge of COVID-19. Yeah, you like that, like 90
Married at First Sight,
or is it's not 90 Day Fiance?
No, it was called Married at First Sight.
Like
they got married to somebody that they were set up with.
I couldn't
without ever having seen the person before.
I couldn't hardly watch that. He was
I thought it was great.
Into it.
And it was about love. All right, we're not really talking religious and politics. So our friend Eddie Espinoza, who we wondered if he was the
worship leader.
There was a famous worship leader in the Vineyard named Eddie Espinoza. We're wondering if that's you.
But last week we didn't hear back from him on that.
No, he didn't. So Eddie, let us
know.
I didn't know there was a Real Housewives of Salt Lake tuning on Hulu next.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Bravo airs on Hulu, but yes.
What do you watch it on?
I watch it on
our Comcast,
cable.
and Xfinity.
Yeah.
Okay. So should we talk Bible or politics, or just keep talking Real Housewives?
I'm a little disoriented today, I think. So
Biden won the election again yesterday.
Right. Oh, because of the Supreme Court.
Because of the Supreme Court throughout the Texas craziness.
I gotta say, do you guys it is 100,000% the case that these lawsuits are all about the fundraising? They've raised 200.
So? Oh, that was a crazy question to ask.
They've raised $250 million into the Trump PAC. This is his new bankroll.
Yeah, it is.
And so it is obvious. It is obvious. So these lawsuits are going to keep getting fired off. It's like a filing fee. That's it.
Yeah.
It's no skin off their nose. Keep filing lawsuits. It's a way for them to just,
Bex agrees with you. She says it's just a money grab.
Yeah.
Trump 100% model. Now, I think some of it is like he just wants to perpetuate attention, and maybe it's
equals money and fundraising.
True. And he wants to, he's going to do something, a TV news network or something like that. And so,
is him, Eddie Espinoza.
Are you kidding? That's you?
No more. I tried to direct message and it didn't go through.
Oh no. Okay, Eddie.
Oh my gosh. That is awesome.
So Eddie Espinoza 7. Wow. We love you.
We're in the midst of worship leader fame, and pardon our fandom for a moment.
Hey, sorry everybody else, but we're going to.
But you know what? This all kind of goes back. So I brought up the Canada thing and how we have people tuning in from Canada. And I've been sharing the last couple of weeks that I have been absolutely obsessed with the live Vineyard Worship album that was recorded in Toronto. I don't know what year it was. I'm just pulling it up on YouTube. So you can go search on YouTube, Winds of Worship Toronto. Yeah. And then there's a song on there called True Love. It's a 10-minute song. I'm not kidding you. I can't stop listening to that song. And every time I do, I just think about the honesty and the beauty and the humility of that movement of God that came out of Canada. And so that's why when I see people from Canada, I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys have you have infused so much in our country for years
And into
obviously.
our lives.
Anyway, so that prompted a discussion of Vineyard Worship, and then Eddie,
so wait, I mean, I want to stop here a second, because this is really, so we believe in providence. We believe that sometimes God intervenes in the world, or somehow these things. So you had just kind of gone back and started listening to these old Vineyard songs.
Like it, because I was a young teenager in the 80s, and just what I saw the impact of this authentic expression of the love of God impacted my parents. Like, and they're that saying a lot, and someday maybe I'll unpack that for folks, but like there was a lot of peace in my home as my parents kind of gravitated towards this movement that was the Vineyard movement, which has its roots in the Jesus People movement in California. And so as a young teenager, it's like finally there was peace in my household because my parents were finding it through the Vineyard movement. And so I got wrecked. I mean, to this day, look, I'm getting emotional thinking about it. Wrecked because of John Wimber and the Vineyard stuff. And so today, like here I am, I'm 48 years old, and I'm like, just, obviously we're all in this bizarre like world of like, God, what are you doing? Where are we going? And trusting him, for sure, trusting him. But this is just a really different part of the journey, you know, than what we've known in the evangelical church, which is all good. Don't get me wrong. I want things to be blown up that are not a reflection of who God is. But I find myself drawn back to this era when I think there was a similar sort of disruption going on. Now that was happening in the church. And I think a lot of today, this disruption is outside of the church. But what was going on with the Vineyard back in those days, like I'm just drawn to it. So anyway.
So I think it's pretty crazy that you started listening to that music again. We just started doing TikTok lives. I think this only our second or third one.
I think our third.
And we meet Eddie Espinoza on here, who, you know, we're big fans. And so Eddie, I want to connect. I think it's got to be providential that we've run across each other. And so if I'll try to reach you on direct message, or you try to reach me, and my website is the Nonpartisan Evangelical up on your live stream when you mention Vineyard. Wow. So that's so everybody else, it's got to be God. And so just try, let's connect. My website is the Nonpartisan Evangelical, npepodcast.com. And if you just be so kind and go there and send me a message through the contact there, if we can't connect on TikTok, we would love to. Yeah. We just love to meet you. But I feel like that's too coincidental to be coincidental. There's something. It is God. It's God, says Eddie. Yeah.
So, okay. So we're having a moment.
Sorry, everybody else. Just enjoy this conversation we're having.
Let's zoom out for a second. And like, I think this is not just about let's connect with Eddie.
Our fandom. Eddie.
Yeah. This is, I just think this is a time when God is throwing off the chains. He's throwing off the just the restrictions of religiosity.
Thanks for the confetti, by the way.
Churchianity, as our friend Julie Barnett is always saying. Yeah.
Divine appointment.
And it's like, okay, so just as God was upending everything in the church back in the day, Eddie, which you have a lot more experience with than we do, but like just as that, like he is still doing that, and it is a now thing, and we are just living in an inspiring and also scary, but inspiring and energizing time. Like we are a part of a significant sea change that I believe is the hand of God, and he's revealing himself in ways that the church has been blocking and covering up.
Yeah, I think that. So one thing I would say to everybody who's tuning in right now, and if you're just coming in, tell us what state you're coming from. And we're sorry, we do miss some of you. Somebody had asked if we've watched The Chosen. We have not watched The Chosen.
I've heard about it. Like my folks have talked about it a lot, and we haven't.
Yeah, we'll have to jump on that sometime. Yeah. But so everybody watching, like, I believe if you have a heart to find God, God will find you. And if you need a sign of that, this is crazy. I mean, I'm freaking out a little bit because we haven't listened to this Vineyard music that my wife picked up a few weeks ago. We haven't listened to it in years and years and years. We used to listen to it all the time, decades. And we come on TikTok and do a live, and the very singer from the songs that we love happens to come on just as we're talking about our roots in the Vineyard Church, the Vineyard Association of Churches. That, to me, that's just a sign to you today that God knows who you are, and God will find you if your heart is reaching out to him.
And he knows what's important to you.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, other people may not have the
divine appointment, yeah,
excitement around song 8 on the Toronto Winds of Worship CD like I do, but God knows that's what's important to me, and he knows what's important to you. And so I would just really encourage you to, hopefully being with us for a few minutes this Saturday morning, maybe that this is just an encouragement to say, like, take 5 minutes and, shut everything down and just like reflect on, like, okay, God, you love me more than I could possibly know. Help me know my own heart. What do you see in me? And what do you see that's important to me? And just like it's like meditation, really, just like let him fill that space with you for a little bit. And I'm telling you, it's so refreshing.
Yeah.
And I'll be surprised if you don't end up, if you're a crier like I am, which, oh gosh, I am an easy crier. Anyway, I will sometimes do this and I'll just be like on the floor sobbing for like 30 minutes. And I just wake up feeling so much better. That kind of stuff needs, that's how we connect with God.
So Teresa says they have a Vineyard Church in Rockville Center, New York. Great. We had Homestead, Florida come on. Alaska said we're going to love The Chosen.
I saw Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Which is super cool.
Way to go, Wisconsin, Michigan,
Yes,
Pennsylvania, Georgia. We love you guys.
Battleground.
I really like how open you are to many topics and you don't have hate to others.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had something really pertinent to say and now it kind of went away.
Sure you did.
But Ashley, are you an Enneagram 2?
I don't know. This is a question
we have friends that hate us because we haven't done the Enneagram.
I almost now. Okay, so I have taken a.
I'm an 8.
Our daughter's 21 and she's like really into Enneagram, and it's like it just really helps her map relationships and understand a lot more about herself. She's telling me I am.
She says you are a 2.
I'll have to look it up. But I did this other thing that's like it's called Predictive Index, which has been like a 50-year-old it's kind of similar tool, but it's used more commonly in like a corporate setting in the workplace. So I did take that recently, and I'm a maverick. And so I'm kind of the like, oh, really? Is that what like the world and the system is telling you to do? Oh, no, watch, we're going to do something totally different. And like, so everyone wants me to take Enneagram. So that's making me be like, oh no, I'm not taking Enneagram. I know. So I'm being rebellious.
That's kind of how we live, kind of why we are what we are, I think sometimes, because when everybody's saying you have to do something, we're like, yeah. I'm not sure we do.
I mean, sometimes we're like, yeah, we're wearing masks. Yes, we're going to get the vaccination. Yes, we trust people. So I'm not saying we're just like at everything like that, but we have a heart for change. We have a heart for transformation, and we live in a place in the middle of, oh gosh, we got someone from Lancashire.
Fred from Lancashire, England. Oh, that's so cool. We love England. Bloomington, Indiana. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Anyway, we have a heart for transformation, and we live in a place that the status quo, we have the most distressed economy in all of California, the most racially divided economy in all of California. And so we are trusting God and working. We're not just like praying. We're like working and praying and working and putting our, everything we have, we put into this message of like, we can change this place. And just because something has been true in the past doesn't mean it has to be true in the future. So it's that kind of mavericism. May I please butcher the English language? Now that someone's on from England, did you know that like when you ever spend time with people from the UK, you understand they actually have a command of the English language. Yes. And we've so bastardized it in the United States. It's like really clear. Anyway.
Now we have really close friends here that live here that are from Scotland. And, so we love the UK. Now, our Scottish friends would say we're not English, and they always kind of make sure we know that. But so anyway, I just love having Fred from Lancashire with us today.
Yeah, welcome.
One of the things I was going to say is, by the way, God won't find you just through like worship music and Christian acts. It's one of the things I hate about what we do in evangelicalism. We came up with this term secular, and we said, sacred is good, spiritual, secular is not, and spiritual is out there. Oh dear, I'll have to watch my grammar.
See,
says
even
Fred.
that, you said
Oh dear.
it way better than an American would have. That just sounded like eloquent the way you said that. Oh dear.
But I am convinced that we're wrong in that God just loves beauty, and he loves what you love in your heart. Good morning, it says from 2 Ministry. Hi, 2 Ministry. Warren shared the live. If you can share the live, that's great. If you'll follow me, that would be great. If you're on YouTube, if you would subscribe. Those things just really help. Whenever you comment, you like, you watch, it just helps tell TikTok and YouTube that we matter, so. Charles Schuler from Chula Vista. Charles is one of our patrons.
California.
One of our patrons on our NPE Patreon page. But let me say this. So God loves beauty, and he loves what you love. And so this happened last night with us. We were just sitting and we were both working as we do. And so I popped on YouTube, and I like to watch weird musical things, and particularly 80s music. And so I was showing Ashley the Flock of Seagulls.
You got to put it in your chat or something, or like put it out there, because this is so great. Or maybe someone who's watching can do this real quick, because it's like the keyboard's way over there.
Yeah, if you can find it, that would be great.
So what do you search on too?
So go to YouTube and search Flock of Seagulls, and then just orchestra or something like this. So what this video is if you know who the Flock of Seagulls are, remember the guy with the hair, like he had blonde hair and it was like up on the side and then it came down in the front like this.
Prague.
It wasn't Iran.
It was Prague.
I'm just trying to think what the song was.
Oh, sorry.
But anyway,
talking about the orchestra.
Yeah, the orchestra from Prague. Search it. Flock of Seagulls. we're getting side road here with too many details. Hi, Arizona. And so it's Flock of Seagulls singing one of their famous songs with the Prague Orchestra. And
it's awesome.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And so talk about tears. I was like moved to tears.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I see God in that.
Come on.
I see God in that.
Yes.
And it's totally not a Christian song. It's very secular from the 80s and from really my pagan era of my life. But it was just beautiful. It was beautiful that these men had achieved something in life, making this music. And now much, much, much later in life, they're together again, looking like they're having so much fun. And this beautiful orchestra.
Music. And honestly, a shout out to the artists among us who help us transcend our logical minds and connect in an emotional way, just like you did last night. So it's Christmas time. We should be listening to Christmas music or watching a Christmas movie or something. But no, we're watching the Flock of Seagulls.
Space Age Love Song is the song.
Okay. The guy, did you say he's totally bald now?
Totally bald now, yeah.
Okay, but like crying, weeping as this band plays with the Prague Orchestra, and they produce this spectacular artistic event. So God bless you. God bless you, our artists.
Teresa says, Spirit in the Sky will be playing at my funeral while everyone stands up dancing and singing. God used Bruno Mars, Just the Way You Are, to speak to me. Yeah. Way to go, Kat.
Do you remember when you had like almost like a mini personal revival listening to Tom Petty?
Tom Petty.
Heartbreak?
Yeah. American Girl, which is like not only not a Christian song, it's like not
raunchy.
A clean song. But I was here in this office where we're sitting, and I just felt the Spirit of God come into the room, and I was interacting with heaven through American Girl by Tom Petty.
Shall we say, like, Paul has a joke that you should cuss at least once a day to chase the religious demons away? I think we should add to the list of, like, admit that you had a spiritual experience listening to American Girl by Tom Petty. That will also chase religious demons away. And if any of you are watching and you happen to be influenced by those religious demons, we're probably going to start hearing about it in the chat at any moment.
Yeah. Yeah. And we try to be careful sometimes, because we did have some friends say, hey, we sent one of your videos to our friends, and you said
you can't cuss.
You said the S word, and they shut it off at that point. But we don't believe that God is scared of words.
That's right.
And all of that. So yeah.
Whatever. Real Housewives.
I'm still freaked out that we met Eddie Espinosa on TikTok. I'm freaked out. Tell us where you're from if you're on. We'll go just a few more minutes here and we'll be finished. But hey, we have a spiritual gathering on Sunday mornings at 10 o'clock Pacific. If you go to my website, npepodcast.com, click on the events page. It'll tell you the information for that. And so a lot of people are asking, like, how can we help with this, spread the message? And so first off, just by being here with us, sharing, liking, following, subscribing to our YouTube channel. We're really spending a lot of time trying to grow our TikTok and YouTube audiences. If you like my TikTok videos, my little 60-second videos, I usually have something longer. That's a deeper explanation over on YouTube. And then we do the podcast on my website, npepodcast.com. So just go check out those resources.
Oh, our friend Butch says no answer on the science question. So he had asked a while ago, do we believe in science? Yes, we believe in science.
Yeah.
God is the author and creator of science, and it's his delight to reveal more of his mysteries and wonder and genius. I mean, God is the source of genius. So anything that reveals ingenuity or genius in the world, to me, is like, wow, thank you, God, for revealing more of yourself. So I love our scientific community. As a former elected official, and still as a person who works in community and economic development, 1000% would push as hard
wear
as I
a
could
mask
for dollars into the scientific community, like R&D. Come on, we're in California. I mean, it is our very nature
just
to want to explore mask. And all that. So yeah, so of course we love science. We love science and art and engineering and literature, and all of that is just, to us, it's just absolutely reveals the beauty and the wonder of God.
Yeah, in fact, I was thinking if we had a lull and I needed a verse to share, I had pulled this one up today, which is Luke 11:52. It says, "Woe to you, lawyers." The lawyers were the lawgivers. They were the ones that read the Bible and said, this is what the law is. He said, "Woe to you guys, for you have taken away the key of knowledge. You did not enter yourselves, and you hinder those who were entering." And I just always thought that passage said to me that Jesus was saying, like, you guys telling people not to think for themselves, not to grow with God. In Proverbs, it says it is the honor of God to conceal a matter and the honor of kings to search it out. And so that's what I think science is. The great scientists, Galileo, Newton, they all were into science because they wanted to prove the existence of God. And so science is godly. Yes, as holy.
Yeah, godly. Mm-hmm.
Holy name P says science is godly. Absolutely. And in my most staunch evangelical days, I still never once said my faith rises and falls on a 6-day young earth creation. It's just stupid that we're there. I mean, it's just stupid that we're fighting for silly stuff like that. And I was telling the Bible study people today that one thing that just really gets me is I see pastors now arguing that wearing a mask is a lack of faith. And some of those same pastors used to call me when I was leading a church, and they said, "Hey, you have to come to this seminar about church safety, because if you don't have armed guards in your church service, you're not protecting your people." And they actually tried to guilt me, like, you're not protecting your people if you don't have armed guards. So apparently faith can protect you from a virus, but not from a gunman
shooter who would come in your church.
And so let's come on. We're being hypocritical and stupid. Let's stop being stupid.
Funny. Are they wearing seatbelts?
Yeah, wearing seatbelts, stopping at stoplights, driving on the right side of the road for us, left side of the road for Fred. And it's an act of compassion. Absolutely. Yeah. Who says that? Lisa. Yes. Yeah. Wearing a mask says, I care about you.
So can I confess, I have a little bit of a mask fetish, because
you do. She's always buying new masks. It's crazy.
Because I really believe in wearing my mask, and I actually work at home, but we have a lot of it, if we have to go in the office, we're all nobody's there at the same time. We're always wearing our masks in the office, even by ourselves. So we're just trying to be really conscientious.
Well, you're not alone. Holy name Peace, as his wife does too.
I'm trying to find the most comfortable, breathable, doesn't fog the glasses, fits the face just right. And I will literally be out at the grocery store or Target or whatever. And I'll be admiring, God, that hugs your face so well. What kind of mask is that? So anyway, my favorite one that I found so far was from Costco. And it's a cool fabric. So it's really breathable and everything. But I'm a little concerned it's probably too thin.
Oh,
So I'm
really?
kind of trying to replace it.
You got this one for me. This is kind of become my favorite.
And this one.
Yeah, this one is my favorite so far.
It doesn't fog your glasses, that one?
It does a little bit, but not quite as bad as some of the others. But it's adjustable is what I like about it. So I can fit it. But yes, we believe in masks. And we believe Jesus would have worn a mask because he likes people.
Our British friend wants to know if he could wear a Harry Potter mask in a Midwest church.
No, you could not. You would be run out of the church. Oh, no. I wanted to ask Fred, like we watch these British movies sometimes.
Wait, well, how do you know his name is Fred?
He said his name was Fred earlier.
Okay.
Yeah. And so what's his handle there? PG for me. Yeah. He said his name was Fred. And we watch these British movies. We watched Love Actually the other day, which if you're Christian, it does have some pretty raunchy scenes, but we still love the movie.
It takes every year. It's like we watch that at least 4 or 5 times.
I hear, so I'm sorry if this is an offensive word. I'm asking. I hear them say bugger all the time.
I think that's the F word.
Is that the F word? So Fred, tell me, is that a really bad word? I hear it in our English movies all the time that we watch, or we watch The Crown, and they say bugger off.
They say bugger.
Bugger off. Well, I can't even do a British accent.
Well, if you are American.
Teresa says there's an insert, by the way, that holds the mask away from your mouth.
Okay, thank you. I've tried to find a mask that came with the insert and I haven't found it. So maybe I'll just search for the insert and put that into another mask.
So Fred says bugger is not the F word.
Okay, fine.
Not really, fine. He says. But do you use it in can you use it in a church conversation? I guess maybe I'm asking, but I always see him. They say it in British movies. Hugh Grant always says it in every movie that he's in.
I'm going to say it one more time. Bugger. Okay. That's Fred's fault. He got us on the Harry Potter thing.
Yeah.
Which got us to British movies.
Way below the F word and slightly above damn.
What's so funny is we all have like a hierarchy of cuss words. And this is so I grew up Southern Baptist in Northwest Arkansas, which is like the Southern Midwest. And it's a little bit of an isolated flyover. It's like the flyover of the flyover territory. And I remember my dad was a pastor at a large Southern Baptist church. And this was like in probably the mid to late 80s.
What do you call a bottom? He's asking.
Hold on. We'll get to that.
Okay.
And
we need to remember Vernie's question here. Go.
Okay.
Keep talking.
So this is important. My dad said to me, Ashley, you can say crud, but not crap. You cannot say, you can't say gosh because that's short for goddamn. You can't say ga. You can't say golly because that's short for God, which is short for goddamn. Anyway, he had this like whole, and I was like, okay. So it took me many decades to finally realize I don't give a damn about your list.
We did. We had a family conversation when I was a kid too, and gosh, we couldn't say gosh because that was just another version of goddamn.
I can't remember. I think maybe we could say gosh, but we couldn't say ga because ga was like another way of just saying
when did you say ga? People say ga?
Ga. Oh god. Yeah.
Oh
god. Okay, so Fred wants to know what do you call a bottom?
What do you call a bottom? Butt? Ass? Our house is pretty loose with the language now. By the way, guys, I really believe the Bible doesn't say we can't say what are commonly known as swear words. The Bible just doesn't say that. It does say honor each other. And so if I went and dropped an F-bomb in a Midwestern church, that would be sinful because I would be dishonoring their culture. But there's no word that's inherently bad. The point of using God's name in vain, the commandment was you don't get to put curses on people. Our tongues have power. And we don't get to say, God damn you. And that's where that whole goddamn thing came from. I don't get to say, because I don't like you, God damn you, God curse you. And that's what that commandment, it's not that the F word is inherently evil. Any word can come out of darkness in our heart. If I know somebody has a sensitivity around a word and I say it just to be belligerent or you don't get to PC me, so I'm going to say this word, that's a swear word. That's a violation of relationship and thus sinful. But saying
I have to tell you, I worked in politics in a pretty aggressive political culture in Fresno, and I learned like no one takes you seriously until you start cussing at them. So yeah, I mean, just you gotta kind of blend to the culture you're in, I guess.
I had a business I used to run, and I was a sportscaster on TV and radio, and so I had learned to not cuss in my life. So I'd grown up, getting a beating if you cussed, and so then I became like a pagan in college, and I cussed a lot. But then when I went into TV, I said I'm not going to cuss in my daily life because I don't want to ever accidentally cuss on the air
and get a fine
and get fined and get fired.
Yeah.
And so I never cussed. It wasn't a habit of mine. But then I took over a business running a radio station. I had these 20 somethings working for me. And there were times that they just weren't listening. And so I would go, hey, listen the fuck up. Excuse if that language is offensive. But when I dropped an F-bomb or said, listen to this shit, our eyes got this big and they listened. And so sometimes it just is the only word that works. So
you have to use it as a
and I know that's
manager, you have to use it.
It's really hard for some of you. Vernie asked, is it NPE Podcast? Yes, that's the website, Nonpartisan Evangelical, npepodcast.com.
Yeah.
That's the website.
Funny, somebody last week said, like, reacted to the name Nonpartisan Evangelical and was like, you must be a Trump supporter, and like got really offended and such. But we were kind of like, well, that's the point. Like, it shouldn't be the case that evangelicalism is associated with Trump and the right, and yet
that's what's sad about it, huh?
So it's like you saying nonpartisan is provocative to the partisan evangelicals, and you saying evangelical is provocative to the non-evangelicals. And so like, that's the point. People trying to provoke, trying to blow some stuff up.
So yeah, every Saturday, 9:00 Pacific, doing a little Bible study now. And usually
of today, I mean, we'll see, if that ends up being something that people respond well to and it's helpful and meaningful, then do it.
And so if you subscribe to my newsletter, we'll because these things are flowing and changing, and we're learning and growing as we go. So npepodcast.com, Nonpartisan Evangelical, npepodcast.com, and sign up for the Insiders newsletter. Follow me on TikTok, subscribe on YouTube. All of that stuff helps grow this thing. And if you would be interested in doing some financial support, if you go on the website, npepodcast.com, click on that Patreon button. It tells you how you can get a little financially invested to help. And you get some cool stuff there, including my novel on audiobook.
Which, by the way, someone way earlier said that he or she, I'm not sure it was, is reading your book and is enjoying it. So
really?
Thank you for that shout out.
Grab one and show everybody real quick. Well, you can see it right behind me. It's Joseph
on
Comes
YouTube,
to Town on YouTube. Oh, that's right. Is that upside down? And it's, so Joseph Comes to Town, when the religious right goes religiously wrong. And you can get it on Amazon, or you can get it on my website at npepodcast.com. It's really good. It's really good.
I have to say, we love spending time with all of you in this format on Saturday mornings. So we are just really, really enjoying connecting and seeing people's comments. And there's something really special about just connecting this way. And so thank you for choosing to spend time with us. And we'd love to. Good. Elaine told you about the book.
My friend Elaine told me about the book.
I'll bet it's Elaine Robles.
Oh, do you think? Is Kat local? Is she a Fresno?
We'll see. I'll bet it is.
She loves you guys. Oh, that's got to be Elaine Robles. Yeah.
Anyway, this means a lot. Oh.
Don't know your last name for the book search.
Fred, it's
if you go on Amazon and just, I'm reading, it says, but very, very provocative. If you go on Amazon and just search Joseph Comes to Town, my last name is Swearengin. And Kat says, it is Elaine Robles. All right, Kat. You can see the name right there.
And by the way, if you have a hard time remembering, now you know why we talk so much about swearing, because our last name is Swearengin. See? A little mnemonic device there to remember.
So it's the book. I'm sorry, I interrupted you there, but the book is about, Joy is a friend. She's a worship leader. I don't remember where you are, Joy. Tell us where you are again. But she has a great voice. She's doing some Christmas carols on her page.
Oh, cool!
It's amazing.
And we're just wrapping up, Joy. So we're sorry to be.
We usually come on about 10:30, but you had some other things you were doing.
I'll tell you what. I had a slightly illegal pedicure this morning.
A slightly illegal. Joy's from Oklahoma.
Oh,
You know Oklahoma.
well, my family's in Tulsa, so I was raised in Northwest Arkansas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the book, I'm sorry. So you don't really need the name, Fred. Just go to Amazon and search Joseph Comes to Town and it'll pop up. Or if you go to my website, nppodcast.com, and click on Joseph the novel, it'll have all the info there. It'll link you to Amazon, or you can buy it straight off my site. Either way is fine. If you want Kindle, you have to go to Amazon. And if you sign up on Patreon, you can get the audiobook series and listen to it.
Okay, now I'm feeling guilty. I was
Will
wearing
do,
my
says
mask,
Fred.
socially distanced.
You weren't doing it illegally.
It kind of, yeah. I mean, I don't want to say any more because I want to get my vendor in trouble, but let me just say that I have problems walking if I don't get a pedicure.
And so I wanted to tell, the book is, I've always imagined, like, if Jesus were in America today. Thank you, Fred. We've really enjoyed Fred from Lancashire, England.
Oh, cool.
If Jesus were in America today, in the flesh, incarnate, what would he say to the evangelical church? I don't think his words would be very kind for the evangelical church, and his words certainly weren't kind for the church of the first century. And so this book is my imagination of what Jesus would say to the evangelical church. And so it's a book about Jesus, or a Jesus type character named Joseph, walking into a very conservative town and starting to do miracles and teach, and people love him, and he starts critiquing the right-wing evangelical church.
Hey, so can we just pray?
Yeah.
So
we got to go, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yes. And I feel like we were so all over the place this morning, but it was really fun. And so for people who may be looking for just like a heart connection real quick, maybe we could just pray together. And yeah, you would get kicked out of most churches.
Jesus, I truly believe evangelical churches in America today would hate Jesus passionately if he were on earth today.
Yep.
And I know that's hard for my evangelical friends to hear.
The sand in the pants of the evangelical world. That's an expression that if you are not from the South, maybe I can help spread this around the world. Sand in the pants. Sand in the pants. That sounds really irritating. I have to adjust in my chair just thinking about it. All right, we need to pray for folks. Yeah. Love you all, says the gift coach. Amen, says another. Yeah. Harley's mom joined. Oh, hi, Harley. All right. So we talked earlier about God knowing you, and that us meeting one of our favorite all-time worship leaders on TikTok over the last 2 Saturdays here is just an indication that the creator of the universe knows who we are, knows what our hearts love, and he cares about that. And so some of you maybe have felt like you've moved away from faith or spirituality or from your church, certainly from your community. And I think what you're supposed to hear today from us is God knows you and he's aware of you. The creator of the universe cares about what your heart cares about. Yeah. Yeah. So God, we just bless every person who has logged on with us this morning, even if it was just for a split second. Lord, I just pray that that you would reach each person and their households. And I pray today that they would experience joy. They would experience the true love of God. I pray that anything that the church, the organized church has done to impose condemnation or judgmentalism that has driven people from you, God, we just pray that you would lift that today. And we just affirm people. I think just what you're saying, Paul, like people should know that God made you to be the way you are for a reason. The things you love, the things you like, the things you think about, what makes you laugh, etc. Like the Lord loves that. He loves that about you. So, you get to love yourself. You get to know just how pleased God is with you. So, Father, would you just release that over people today? Let them find joy in this time and let them just feel a fresh connection with you. I pray that prayer in Jesus' name. Yeah. Yeah. That's one of the things I was just going to say. For some, it's difficult to hear of God in a persona of he, or for us to talk about praying in Jesus' name. And we're really sensitive to that. And we think it's okay that we're sensitive to that. For some evangelicals, it's like, no, I'm just going to do that. And if that rubs people wrong, screw you. For us, like God will present
himself, which is our tradition, to know God as a father and a persona of a he. But I believe that the true God is presented in all the genders.
Yeah.
That Holy Spirit sort of represents this female side of God, and Jesus represents this sort of brotherly side of God. And so if you see God differently than he and Father as we do, that's okay. That's okay. You connect to God as you understand God, and I'm okay with that. And so I pray that the Spirit of God, the Spirit of the Creator, who is the container of all this universe that we live in, that he would reveal himself to you in some way that presents this idea: God knows who you are. You are not alone in this world. You are not insignificant. And I'm thinking of Teresa, who's over on YouTube, and Joy, our friend from Oklahoma. For both of you, I just have a sense in my spirit that there's something like Joy, you doing your singing on TikTok, that it may seem small, but it's not small. Like there's a bigger,
so good,
circle. What is
like
that called?
Effect,
the ripple,
right?
going out from that than you think.
Yeah. Do it in faith.
Yeah.
And just watch what God does with it.
I like to believe that atheists call God nature, and studying nature is our experience of God. I think there's really something to that. And I'm learning to experience God more in nature. And Teresa, there's something about you, like it's either mothering your children or you mother somebody else, your friends or somebody, and it's just really significant. It's not small. It's big, and God's aware of what you're doing, and God blesses what you're doing.
All right, we've got to land the plane.
Yep.
Sadly, we'd love to just hang out with all of you and keep chitty-chatting this way, but got to land the plane.
Yep.
So God bless you guys.
Join us on Saturday, Sunday morning at 10 Pacific for our spiritual thing. Fred says, thank you very much. It's much appreciated.
Right.
Joy says, thank you both. Love from Pendle in Lancashire. We love you guys. It's a privilege to be able to talk to you. So have a great, great week, and hope your holiday season is amazing.
All right. God bless you.
Bye-bye, guys. Okay, we're off. All right, Teresa, thanks for coming over to YouTube and hanging out with us. We'll see you later.